Next topic is conversion of categorical variables into dummy variables, okay, or conversion of categorical variables into the different type of a variable. I hope you remember the categorical variables. We have seen it in while covering our theory. We have different types of attributes. Attributes is the one which represent your object. Attributes are also called as a features. They are also called as a dimensions. They can call also as a columns, right? And we have a different types like we have the numeric attributes, we have a nominal attributes, we have the categorical attributes, right? The one in which the category is important, correct? So all the statistical and machine learning models are built on the foundation of a data, and a group or the composite entity holding the relevant to a particular problem together is called as a data set. Data sets are composed of independent variables or the features and the dependent variables or the labels. So please remember कि डेटा सेट में क्या होते हैं, इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स होते हैं और कोई डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स होते हैं, करेक्ट? दिस इंडिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स आर आल्सो कॉल्ड एज अ फीचर्स एंड डिपेंडेंट वेरिएबल्स आर कॉल्ड एज अ लेबल्स. All these variables can be classified into two types again. The first is my quantitative, another is my categorical. Okay, in this today's session we will see like various methods to convert categorical variables into the dummy variables, which is essential part of data preprocessing and which is required in the machine learning or the statistical model. The categorical variables can be further divided into different types. Either they are binary or dichotomous, which is a variables which can have two outcomes such as win or lose, or on and off, and even we have true, false, and like this. So binary variables, binary categorical variables are the one which has two outcomes. We have the nominal variables. Nominal variables are used to represent the groups with no particular ranking, such as the hair color, which we have already seen in our theory also, कि एक hair color होता है, like you have a hair color of red, black, brown, blonde, like this. Even we have the marital status like married, unmarried, widow, single, so on. So these are my all nominal variables. Then I have the ordinal variables, which represents the group with a specific ranking or order, such as winners of the race or app rating, or even I have given you the example of your score in your examination, the class which you achieved in your examination, like my second class, higher second class, first class, or first class with a distinction. So these are my ordinal variables. Fine. So category variables के तीन type आपने देखे, binary or boolean data types. We have the nominal variables and we have the ordinal variables, correct? Now these dummy variables acts as an indicator of the presence or absence of a category in a categorical variable. Fine. So the usual conventions detects that 0 represents the absence and 1 represents the presence. The conversion of categorical variable into the dummy variables leads to the formation of two-dimensional binary matrix, जिसमें अपने पास columns है और rows. Correct. Now looking at the thing, see, I will tell you, I will give you an example. Let me share one screen with you. So let me go to my Word document. Okay. ये कुछ अलग है. So let me go and share my. Okay. सो यहाँ पे एक डेटा सेट आपने देख सकते हो, कैटेगरी का डेटा सेट है. क्या है? आउटलुक है, टेम्परेचर, ह्यूमिडिटी एंड विंडी. आउटलुक में क्या लिखा है? रेनी, ओवरकास्ट, सनी, सन. टेम्परेचर कैसा है? हॉट, माइल्ड, कूल. ह्यूमिडिटी हाई, नॉर्मल. एंड विंडी नो. सो हाउ शुड वी लुक इट? सो डे 1, सपोज इट इज रो 1 represents the day 1, so I have outlook as a rainy, temperature is a hot, humidity is very high, and the windy, no wind is there, correct? For the day 2 it will be, or the time or the observation 2, it is rainy, hot, high humidity, and there is a wind. Yes, it is a windy. Okay, so here it has a 4 categorical columns: outlook, temperature, humidity, and windy. Now let's consider the column windy, which is composed of 2 categories, right? क्या है? Yes and no. So in the data set that contains the dummy variable, the column windy is replaced by 2 columns, such which each represents the categories as yes and no. Just listen to me carefully. Then now comparing the rows of the column yes and no with the windy, we mark 0 for yes and where it is absent, and 1 where it is present. Correct. तो हो गया. The same is done for the column no. Now ये methodology जो मैंने आपको बताया, this is adopted for all columns. ठीक है. So let me show you how it is done. How this, see, this is my data set containing the categorical variable. Again I will explain you. So what this data set consists of? 4 columns: आउटलुक, टेम्परेचर, ह्यूमिडिटी एंड विंडी. अब मुझे बताओ इनकी कैटेगरीज क्या क्या है. जब विंडी एक कॉलम है उसका कैटेगरी क्या है? यस एंड नो, इतना ही है. ह्यूमिडिटी का कैटेगरी क्या है? हाई एंड नॉर्मल, 2 कैटेगरीज है. टेम्परेचर का कैटेगरी क्या है? हॉट, माइल्ड एंड कूल. सो 3 कैटेगरीज ऑफ टेम्परेचर. देन आई हैव द आउटलुक का कैटेगरी. आउटलुक का कैटेगरी क्या है? रेनी, overcast and sunny. Correct. So these are my categorical variable data set. Now I want to convert into the data set of dummy variables. तो इसमें क्या करूंगी मैं? जो आउटलुक का कैटेगरी है, आउटलुक का कैटेगरी क्या था? रेनी, ओवरकास्ट एंड सनी. ठीक है, यही थे ना, रेनी, ओवरकास्ट एंड सनी. टेम्परेचर के कैटेगरीज क्या थे? हॉट, माइल्ड एंड कूल. सो आई हैव 3 more columns: hot, mild and cool. For humidity I have a columns of high and normal, 2 categories. So I have a columns of high and normal. And then for windy I have 2 categories, yes and no. So here I have yes and no. ठीक है. अब ये बताओ मुझे, ये एक रो है, ये रो क्या बताता है? से day 1 का my observation. So on day 1 my outlook is rainy, my temperature is hot, then humidity is high and the windy is no. Correct, that there is a hot temperature all over. Correct. So when I convert into dummy variables, कैसे करूंगी मैं? ये rainy को I will see, it was rainy so I will present as 1, overcast नहीं था तो 0, sunny भी नहीं था तो 0. It was a temperature was very high so it was a hot temperature, so I said it is 1, and mild and cool को 0. The humidity was very high so I said humidity as 1, and when normal के लिए 0 हो जाएगा. Wind कितना है? There is no wind, so for no wind I have put it as 1, and for yes के लिए 0. So this is how I converted every row or every observation of categorical variable into a dummy variable. You all can see it here. Correct? We all are able to see over here. Correct. So there are these approaches. So this the conversion of categorical into dummy variable is done with 3 approaches. The first is label binarizer from the sklearn, then by using binary encoder from the category encoders, and by using get dummies function of pandas library. Correct. Now we'll see this one by one. So let me go back to our collabs. So it is my conversion of categorical variables. So let me share my collabs ka window. I hope you have understood. So here I will put a assignment name, a new assignment we will be having here. Correct? Okay, fine. So looking this, I hope you have understood the concept of conversion of categorical into the dummy. Abhi before this we need to create a data set, right? So data set creation कर लेते हैं. So here I am importing pandas, creating the dictionary जिसमें outlook है कौन से rainy, overcast, sunny, then there is a temperature, there is a humidity and there is a windy. Correct. So I will be converting, I am creating this data frame. So let me execute and you can see the data frame over here. Correct. I have complete 13 rows, 14 rows, and I have 4 columns. That it means that there are 4 different features which are representing the day or atmosphere of at particular time of a day, and I have a 14 different entries for it. Correct. So now we have, as I said, that we have three approaches of, but we will look at only the last approach, which is a very simple approach, and where I do the conversion of all passive possible categorical columns into data frame to dummy columns by using get dummies method of pandas. Correct. So we can either specify the columns to get the dummies by default, or it will convert all possible categorical columns to their dummy columns. Correct. So here I will try to do it. तो you can see here df.copy हमने copy किया है df3 में, and here I do we call this get dummies method for the first parameter mentions the name of the data frame to store the new data frame in the second parameter, and is the list of the columns which is if not mentioned return the dummies for all categories of columns. So यहाँ पे क्या है columns windy and outlook. Correct. So let's see what does this give. So this is I'm just doing for the one. So what I'm doing here, whether it is windy, yes or no, and then it is outlook is overcast, or outlook is rainy, and outlook is sunny. Correct. So this is what I'm trying to do with the columns. So columns कौन से लिए है मैंने, windy and outlook के columns लिए है मैंने. अब windy के लिए क्या है, no yes है, outlook के लिए क्या है, overcast, rainy and sunny. Correct. So this is what I am trying to do over here. So आपने ओरिजिनल डेटा सेट देखा यहाँ पे, एक है आउटलुक एंड विंडी, और ये आउटलुक एंड विंडी. सो आउटलुक के कितने टाइप्स थे, रेनी, ओवरकास्ट एंड सनी. करेक्ट. एंड विंडी क्या था, यस एंड नो. सो विंडी का क्या आया मुझे, नो, यस, and outlook का क्या आया, overcast, rainy and sunny. See, remaining columns I kept as it is. ये temperature and humidity I kept as it is. So now you can see that ये windy or outlook, it has been converted into dummy variables. I hope you are able to see this. So I have converted this categorical variables into the dummy variables, right? I hope you are able to see this. So here by using the function get dummies for the column windy and outlook, I am able to convert my categorical variable of windy and outlook into the dummy variables. So this is how I do a very simple approach by using get dummies function. As I already told you, there are different approaches also. These different approaches are either you can use the label binarizer. So let me show you the different approaches. So these are the different approaches. So approaches are using the label binarizer from the sklearn, then binary encoder from category encoders, and get dummies function of pandas library. So here I have used just a get dummies function of a pandas library where I have converted my windy and outlook columns into the dummies into the binary variables. Correct. I have converted this categorical variable into binary variable, right? So if you want to see this label binarizer way, I will show you that approach also. So this label binarizer is from the sklearn, which converts one categorical column to a data frame with the dummy variables at a time. This data frame can then be appended to the main data frame in the case of there being more than one categorical column. Okay, so let me see this. I will show you. So let us try with this. So here I am doing this sklearn preprocessing, which imports the label binarizer. Then I'm creating a copy of my dataset. I'm calling this label binarizer. So I'm creating the object of it, and then label binarizer dot fit transform. And which column I'm converting? I'm converting the temperature column, right? And then I create a data frame from the object. So and then I try to display that particular frame. Correct. So here you can see a temperature. Temperature क्या क्या था मेरा? If you go back, temperature hot, mild and cool. So here I try to convert this temperature category into the binary category, which is my hot, cool and mild, and I printed the rows. Here, as I said, this label binarizer only convert one category at a time, right? So in a similar manner, we can convert the remaining categories also into the column. Correct. Then we have one more approach. I said it was a binary encoder from the category encoder library. Now, let me tell you about this category encoder library. See, this approach we can convert multiple categories column into dummy variables in a single go. लेकिन इसमें क्या करना होता है? This category encoder, the category encoders is a Python library developed under the SCI Kit-Learn Transformer library. The primary objective of this library is to convert the categorical variables into quantifiable numeric variables. So there are various advantages of it. So what are these advantages? Let us see. So such as reading a compatible with the sklearn transformers, which allows them to be readily trained and stored into the serializable files. Correct. So first, what we have to do, we need to install this library. Correct. So how to install this library? So go to our window and then collapse window, and then we will do pip install category encoder. Okay, so this is going to install my category encoder library into my local for my code over here. Then I need to install this conda also. Let me complete this. It will take a little time. It is still converting. So if it once it is done, it is taking a time. So here we are downloading the category encoders. Why we are using this? To show the conversion of our categorical variables into the binary one. Correct. So first I will install this category encoder, and then I have to do conda install. I can see conda forge category encoders. So let us see this. Okay, I think it is installed successfully. Okay. So go back to our window. Is it installed successfully? Yes, it is said that installed the category encoder, and then we will try to execute this. Yes, and it is executed successfully, and we have received the binary output of all categorical variables, right? So we are able to see this binary outcome of all categorical variables. So at a conclusion line, what we can say, we can say that we are able to successfully convert into this binary variables, or we are successfully able to convert these categorical variables into dummy variables, right? Again, I will go back to say that there are three categorical variables, three types of categorical variables. They are binary, nominal, and ordinal. And then these all variables are supposed to get converted into dummy variables data set, and which is done with the three approaches. The first is by using label binarizer from sklearn. Then we are able to use this binary encoder from the category encoders, and by using the gate dummies, a simple function of pandas library. So with these three ways, we are able to convert the categorical variable into a binary variable.